Welcome to the Beacon 1% Better podcast, where we discuss how to get 1% better every day with your host, Chip Kispert. I'm RJ Malik, producer of this podcast. Chip, as always, good to see you. So let's get right to it. Introduce your guest and what you'll be talking about on this podcast.
Terrific. RJ, thanks for that introduction. Today, I am really pleased to have Derek Notman on the show. Derek is founder of Couplr AI. And at Couplr AI, they are leveraging AI and data science to connect clients and financial advisors for the right reasons at the right time and place. Derek has a number of accomplishments, but a few include winner of the Wealthies in 2002, finalist for the Wealthies and Luminaries in 2023 and 24. He won the Nitrogen Advisor Appreciation Award, and he also won In Business Magazine 40 Under 40. Derek, welcome to the Beacon Flash podcast.
Thank you, Chip. Great to be here, my friend. Looking forward to a fun conversation today.
Well, I always love getting together with you. Let's really kind of kick off and get to it. So tell us a little bit about your background and why'd you start Couplr AI?
So I'm a recovering financial advisor. So I've been in the space 20 years, cut my teeth at New York Life, was a top producer there nationally for a number of years, then went fully independent, started my own RIA, which I still own today, but also at about 3-4 years ago, started Couplr. And Couplr was literally something that came to mind as an advisor. I found the whole lead generation, the client advisor connection process to be terrible for all parties involved. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. And, we'll talk about more about this, but really it just came back to human connection. People are wired to connect with other people like them. And I saw all the great relationships I had with my clients. The ones that were the best were the ones where we really connected. I'm like, well, why doesn't lead gen do this? Why don't we connect people like this? And next thing I know, I'm a Fintech founder, up to my eyeballs in startup land.
And it is an interesting land, isn't it?
Oh boy, is it ever.
So, as you've kind of been going down this journey and, one of the things we're fascinated, we're studying this pretty deeply at the moment is lead gen, right? And so can you share a little perspective on how you view lead gen and how you see the need for transformation from where we are today?
Yeah. Lead gen is the lifeblood of every advisor business, whether you are the solo advisor all the way up to a national broker-dealer wirehouse, it doesn't matter. You need client flow. So where we are at today is that we have evolved from the cold list, door knocking methods, snail mail, seminars. Now that stuff still happens, but it doesn't happen as much as it used to. And really, when I look at the landscape of lead gen technology today, most of it is simply a digital adaptation of the manual cold processes we have used in this industry for many, many, many decades. And there's good and bad with that. Technology obviously speed things up. I think there's some really good players out there that have done some really, really good work and have obviously been successful. They've raised a lot of money and so forth. But now we're starting to see the cracks in, if you kind of want to call this like first generation lead generation experience. And I think this is where the real transformation, why we really need to evolve to the next gen now, is that at the end of the day, as I already mentioned, we are wired to connect with other human beings. So what do I mean by that, Chip? Well, people didn't like getting a cold call at 7:30 at night. People don't like you knocking on their door to try to sell them something. People don't like you stopping in on their business unannounced to try to sell them something. And so it worked, but even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Okay. And so what has happened is a lot of this lead gen tech that has come out is essentially digitized these things that kind of worked. And now they've scaled them a bit, but they forgot the human element aspect. And I think this is where there's massive opportunity for the next generation now.
Got it. So, and hey, you have your own wealth firm, right?
Yeah.
But as you look at this and you look at lead gen, where are a couple areas where you can see wealth firms making meaningful improvements to that lead gen experience?
How does the technology facilitate better human connection? And I think firms that lean into that are the ones, and again, solo shop all the way up to you've got 10,000 advisors in your field force, doesn't matter. That is the true North Star that I think we are missing. And we can get into what I mean by that in a little bit, but the firms that are going to succeed, I think, are actually going to start to rebound and lean back into that and look for tech that helps them do that. In fact, like I just published a blog today and referenced the study from the World Economic Forum that came out last year called The Future of Financial Advice. You're probably familiar with it. What was it? It was either 74 or 76% of consumers want a personalized experience and a human advisor to boot, right? And so I think that's where firms today and moving forward, that's where the puck's headed. So if I'm looking at technology, is it helping me do that thing that the customer's asking for?
But how within lead gen do you do that?
Flip the script. As we talked about, people don't like getting cold calls.
Right.
People don't like you knocking on their door. How many snail mail campaigns get out and the letters ripped up before even being read or opened, right? Terrible conversion rates. Okay, fine. But let's also remember, people need and want help with their money. And they probably want it more now than they ever have, now that we have access to tech and transparency and education and all this.
Mm-hmm.
So all we have to do is change the experience. So instead of using technology and now you're doing digital cold calls or digital door knocking or all these things and competing for leads, why don't we flip it around and empower the consumer, the one that is thinking about their money already and has questions and wants help? Why don't we empower them to find the right advisor for them when they're ready? And so that's like core to what we do at Couplr.
Right.
Because if we can now speed up the process of building rapport and trust with an advisor and giving the consumer control, you can see my pups joining me in the background here. We give the consumer the control of the process. So now as a consumer, because the second I fill out a form online, now I've lost control and that process feels creepy. Or the second you cold call me and say, hey, Chip, I just learned that you moved and you bought a new house or you rolled over or you're a huge donate, you donate $1 million a year to your alma mater, all this publicly available data. Like you call me up and you say, you know, these things, that's super creepy to me. And so let's flip it. Let's let the consumer who's ready to make a decision and want help, let's just empower them and let them get matched with an advisor when they're ready on their terms. When we do that, we have an amazing consumer experience. But what have we done for the advisor now? Advisors hate cold calling. Advisors don't want to be a marketing expert. They want to help people with their money. So they need to spend time doing that and not cold calling or competing for leads and all that stuff. So when we flip that lead generation experience around, everybody wins.
Yeah, that's a conversation I think you and I could probably go into for the next 2 hours and tease that one out. I think that would be a blast to talk about. But I'm going to keep this moving because you mentioned something a little earlier about the industry losing its North Star and losing, and forgetting that this is a people business. What do you mean by that?
We have technology fatigue. I need a telescope now. I need Hubble to look at the Kitsis Fintech map to zoom in, right? Or like I need or maybe that's the wrong one, like a micron microscope, right? To really get it, because there's so many. I'm feeling overwhelmed. So whether I'm an advisor or I'm a CTO or I'm in charge of something at a technology level for a large institution, I'm overwhelmed. I'm drinking from a fire hose. And yes, technology is a great tool. It's something we should add to our technology bucket, our tool bucket for the businesses that we run. But we can't forget at the end of the day that our North Star is that we serve human beings. We help them realize their hopes, dreams, and goals through our expertise and advice and products and services that all revolve around money.
Right.
And I think what's kind of started to happen, my impression is, now there's a lot of good advisors out there that really are focused on the human aspect, but we're starting to almost feel like the technology is the easy button, and it isn't. It isn't, and it shouldn't be. The best thing about being an advisor is being able to sit with your client and cry with them and laugh with them and understand. Like, I was just meeting with a client yesterday. He's going through chemo. And he loves the tech that we use, but we didn't talk about the tech. We talked about the trips that he's trying to do and the things he's trying to do around his treatments and what he wants his money to do for his kids. That's the human stuff. The technology just helps us have the human connection a little bit easier. And I think, man, if I'm a CEO of a large Fortune 100 wealth company, insurance company, or I'm a solo advisor, and I'm looking at the technology landscape, I think the first filter I should use is the human North Star first. Is this technology going to help me actually have better human connection? You know, after COVID and with all of the stuff going on in the world and the way that technology tends to actually like separate people, there's a massive opportunity for us to come back to what's wired in our DNA, to just be with humans, to be next to people, to be with them. And like, we're doing this today. Like, Chip, you and I've never met in person, but we're able to do this and we have a little insight to each other's lives. Like, I can see your guitars. You can see my dogs running around, right? Like, this is helping facilitate human connection. And someday we'll be able to sit in person together and it'll be even more meaningful, right?
Correct.
So I could go on and on and on, but hopefully that makes sense about like a human North Star.
Absolutely makes a ton of sense. It actually dovetails with a lot of things we've been thinking about here. Of technology should be an enablement tool, not a basis for the relationship.
Oh, amen. You got it.
So, all right, that was really interesting, and that was pretty cool and thought provoking for me. Also, when we were chatting earlier last year, as we were getting together and trying to do this, we talked about orphan accounts, and orphan accounts have a place near and dear to my heart. So I'm interested on your perspective on orphan accounts.
Yeah, this is a global problem, and one that bothers me. And I think that it's going to ruffle feathers at some institutions. So, but people need to hear this, because if the human being is the true North Star and doing what's right for them is really what's all important, then addressing this orphan client problem is necessary. There are a lot of orphan customers sitting out there in the U.S. And I mean, I have customers for Couplr in South Africa, for example. Same problem. They have it. These are people that bought some type of financial product. Their advisor quit, left, got fired, whatever. And now they're sitting out there and they have no advisor. The company has a responsibility to get that consumer hooked up with another advisor for a variety of reasons. But what I've been told from, I won't name names, but from folks at Fortune 100 insurance and wealth management companies, the orphan block of business is the most profitable block of business. And that they are almost kind of like just trying to ignore it.
Right.
In a sense. And I'd have nothing to back this next statement up, but I feel like they would rather be scrutinized by FINRA, SEC, whatever, and pay a fine versus actually reassigning accounts. And that just seems like a massive conflict of interest and a huge problem. And I would take the opposite approach and say, why don't we re-engage these orphan customers? We made them a promise. Life happens, advisors move on. Like, I get it, that's fine. Why don't we re-engage them with a new advisor that's best suited to help them, and let's keep that business on the books. And maybe we can cross-sell this person and get more of their wallet share at our company, and keep the loyalty, and so forth, and great experience for the customer. I really think that's what needs to happen. But at the end of the day, we are in a for-profit industry, and if that's a really profitable block of business and I don't have to do a lot with it, I can understand the logic there from a financial perspective, but is that like a good human being perspective? I don't know.
I think your comment on good human being, I also look at it from a fiduciary perspective.
All day long, fiduciary. Yeah, all day long.
Right. So, they are going to have and we've seen it, the regulators come in and say, hey, who are these accounts attached to? They're attached to the house. Things can get a little bit dicey. So I think this is a huge problem in the industry. For the last couple of years, we've been looking for solution providers that can help with it. It is a very, very hard road to till to be able to get in and make meaningful change. But I think that something on the horizon.
To your point, if I'm a executive at a large company and I've got 3 million Orphan customers, do I want to spin up a call center with 500 people, pay all of them a salary, and try to connect with these people? I really don't want to do that, and I probably don't have the budget for it either. Like, that's a monster task that I would dread if I was in their shoes. But this is where technology, when used correctly, could be deployed to re-engage these customers very quickly and get them back with the right advisor for them.
Potentially find the right advisor for them, right?
All day long. So it is possible. So if anyone's listening, like there are, Couplr can do this, by the way. It's been a real, we've had our like the customer in South Africa in particular approached us like, hey, Derek, we've got a ton of Orphan customers. How do we solve this problem?
Listen, I could probably go to 30 firms right now and put you in front of them, and I think you'd have good conversations. So anyhow.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of change gears a little bit. I'm fascinated. One of the things I saw last year was you spent some time down at Necker Island with Richard Branson. What was that experience like?
It's surreal, man. I still have to pinch myself. And we're going back again this next January. It has been life-changing. It has been so overwhelmingly positive in so many aspects of my life as a father and as a business owner. Quick context, I wanted to create a community where there was support for fathers who were also business leaders, entrepreneurs, and really blend and integrate those two roles together. And I wanted Richard to be involved just because of what he's done himself. And long story short, we were able to, and he wants us to come to his island and do this and have our mastermind sessions. And like, I actually asked him a question on LinkedIn that he actually picked up and wrote an article that was viewed millions of times about what advice does he have for dadpreneurs, as we called it.
I love that. I love it.
Which is really, really cool. But yeah, it's all about supporting fathers and business leaders to be the best they can be at home and at work.
Well, it sounds like amazing content. Sounds like you had an amazing crew with you as well. And looked like you had a little bit of fun too.
Ton of fun. That was it. Like we didn't want this to be a stuffy, like 10-hour day in an over air conditioned conference room. We have some fun or some work in the morning, not even work. It's like, they're just great conversations. And then we have a ton of fun.
That's great. Well, I look forward to, hearing more about it and seeing what comes back in January. Moving back to the wealth space, right? When you study the wealth and advisor business these days, who do you follow, pay particularly close attention to? And, kind of which companies out there in the wealth space are inspiring you?
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends in this space. And so I'm keen on any company that is focusing on, I know this is a recurring theme now, but the human element and how are we better engaging people. And so like Adam Holt over at Asset Map, love what they're doing. I'm really interested in what Rob Kirk is doing at Intergen Data on like predicting these life events and how we can help people earlier on. I think that's super cool. And then there's a long, long list. Like I've got a lot of friends on the Fintech map, right? I love what Bento Engine and Philip Hecker and his team are doing with helping, identify these life events and how do we plan for them and so forth.
Gotcha. And I think that's terrific. And, the people that you just laid out there, I know them personally. And they do focus on that personal side, and they use data to enable better relationships, and
that's it.
They enable the advisor to help people get where they want to go and achieve their dreams and goals financially. So I think those are who you laid out was terrific. My last question, we like to be curious here. So, as you look at the wealth space and looking forward, what are you curious about?
I'm really curious about human behavior. And so one of the things that we're learning at Couplr is we're getting a massive amount of data on human behavior, psychology, why people look for an advisor, when they connect with an advisor, things that have never been known before, where we can start to see at not only just national, but global levels, people interacting with their money and the professionals that support them. And what does that look like? And like preferences as far as like age, gender, qualifications. Like South Africa, they have 11 official languages down there. So we're learning about what language preference that consumers and advisors have. Ethnicity, like the list goes on and on and on. And so that's what's really exciting that we're starting to learn, because it's never been done before in our industry. And we're doing it through the lens of like almost like tongue in cheek, but like a dating app experience. We're using the eHarmony Bumble models and we're applying it to insurance and wealth management. And not only is it a ton of fun, like my team internally has now referred to me as the chief Cupid officer at Couplr. But it's a ton of fun, but we're learning great things about people and this really powerful tool we call money in the process.
That's really, really neat. So one of the things we always like to do as we wrap up our time together is to give you the 1% blast time. So Derek, you have 45 seconds to share, a topic that you think is insightful about our wealth management with our audience.
Oh my gosh, this is always a tough one for me. Something that's insightful for your audience. Does your tech have a creepy factor to it?
That's an interesting idea.
I find it creepy when someone calls me up and like I had this happen the other day. I have no idea who this person is or how they got my number, but they call me up. They keep calling. They don't stop calling. So I answer it and they're like, "Hey, is this Derek? It sounds like you want some more life insurance to protect your family in the event of your death." I'm like, dude, who are you? How did you get my information? And like, this is super creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just encourage all of us, because money is super personal and super private. Like if you're going to be engaging with a customer or using a technology to do that, please just have like a creepy filter first. Like, how creepy is this going to feel?
I love it. And you're right. You're right. It's amazing. I get these phone calls. Well, we need, are you open to more life insurance? And I'm like, who are you? What database did I pop up on? Right.
It's just like big data can be helpful, but please don't use it in a creepy way. Please, please, please. Like people are buyers all day long, but not when it's creepy.
I love it. Derek, I want to thank you for joining me on the Beacon 1% Better podcast. I always enjoy your perspective when we talk. You're a trailblazer, and I look forward to seeing you and Couplr AI continue to grow while you also have a lot of fun. Before you go, how about giving us your contact information?
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Chip. Really, really love this conversation. Best way to get a hold of me is go to LinkedIn. Super active there. Follow me, send me a note. Happy to connect with folks.
Sounds great. Derek, thank you so much for spending time with us. I loved our conversation.
Me too. Thanks, brother. All the best to you.
RJ, wow. I really enjoyed that conversation. I thought it was terrific. In reflection, I have 3 thoughts on my conversation with Derek, 3 takeaways.
Yeah.
Number one, based on his comments, he feels that the North Star for wealth, which is that human element, is being lost. That was one of my takeaways. 2, technology should really enable the human experience for wealth managers and advisors. That's a piece that keeps coming back to me from our comments and my conversations with him. And then lastly, and we have been seeing an uptrend in this, is that the human behavior psychology is really becoming more and more important to wealth management and the satisfaction that clients have with their advisors and wealth management firms.
I agree. Those are great takeaways. And like I said, it was a fascinating conversation to listen to both of you talk about this.
Well, it was a lot of fun. So the other piece of this is, lastly, check out our archive of past shows with industry leaders like Cambridge's Colleen Bell, Surge Ventures' Sid Yanamendra, and Michelle Feinstein from Salesforce, to name a few. Those can be found at beaconstrategiesllc.com/podcasts. We here at Beacon encourage you to get 1% better every day. And to quote Walt Whitman, and most recently Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. Until our next episode, this is Chip Kispert. Be well.
Thanks, Chip. We need to add in a shout out as this podcast is brought to you by Beacon Strategies, LLC, the go-to resource for roundtables, consulting, and services that support wealth management firms and their providers. If you need some industry perspective or help, please visit beaconstrategiesllc.com. And again, thank you for listening to the Beacon 1% Better podcast. We ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review because this actually helps others find the show. Again, thank you for listening, and for Chip Kispert and everyone at Beacon Strategies. I'm RJ Malik, and we look forward to you joining us for our next podcast.